Okay, people, it's November 5th. Can you see? It's all steamy. It's cold outside. Anyway, I'm working on this little patch here. I don't know. My oldest daughter, she brought in this plant that overtook everything. So as you can see, I'm trying to dig it out as much as possible. I'm getting rid of it because it's infested the whole piece of land in here. And of course, there's morning glory and the good old famous buttercup. But anyway, I still have the city holding a file on my yard. They closed it on Mr. Lace, but I don't know. They don't want stuff like this out in the open. And the fella said, "What you gonna do with that?" I said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe next year we'll have a yard sale and Andre can sell a couple plants. I'll teach him how to be a businessman young." Right? Because some of these reproduce themselves, right? And what am I going to do with them? Well, we'll see. The other thing is, I think maybe Uncle John died. Honest to God. It's like hitting me today. You know, there might be a very good chance that he has already died, people, and we just haven't been informed about it. Because I had a dream. Oftentimes my dreams come true. That's the scary part of things. But I didn't see it for what it was. Anyway, I'll be back. Okay, people, I'm going to keep this short. In a nutshell, I think Uncle John has died. I had a dream. I didn't mark down the date, people, because this whole situation is just out of this world. It was in September, maybe the first week of October. It was about a month and a half ago. It wasn't very long ago. And the thing about my dreams is I don't dream very much, but when I do, they really stand out and they mean something. It's like a premonition, you know, it's like looking into a crystal ball to know what's going to happen in the future. I had it with all my kids except for Sierra, my oldest daughter. And to this day, I never know what's going to happen with her. With all my other kids, when it came to raising them and stuff, it kind of worked out the way I dreamt it to be, right? And I had a dream about nonprofit, but this is not about the nonprofit. This is about Uncle John. And I've also dreamt where my family, me, like my grandmother and my uncles came and they visit me on the night that they died. Okay, on the night that they died, they came to me. My grandmother, what she did is she took me up to heaven. That's what she did. She took me up to heaven and she showed me her room, where she was going to live. It wasn't in hell. It was up there, okay? And she told me she was going to live with the kids that she was able to live with. In other words, she wasn't going to live with all her kids. She was just going to live with some of them. As they passed, they would go and be with her in her environment. And when I woke up the next morning, I got a phone call and I was told that my grandmother had died. My Uncle Harry, this is before John and I and my three children moved to Vancouver. We were in a townhouse and my chest, I was sleeping and my uncle Harry was on my chest. He was shaking me and he was like, kind of like his body weight was on me. And he says, I gotta go. And I'm like, well, okay, go. I mean, you know, I can't breathe. You know, right? And sure enough, the next day, one of my family members called me and told me that my Uncle Harry had died. So I think, and it's taken me this long because, you know, I don't know what to think about Uncle John. All I know is that what happened to him isn't right. What happened to my kids isn't right. What happened to Andre, because he still says, I miss Uncle John, right? And I try and tell him, try not to think about it, Andre. I was outside, people. But I think that's what that dream was. Because what it was he was younger, right? And he was running around, you know, he was just, because because the thing about Uncle John is, you know, on his depressed days, right, he wouldn't want to get up out of bed. And I like, John, you know, you got to get up and move around, right? Come on, you know, get up, right? And so, you know, we'd have our little hollering match or whatever, or I'd say, come on, let's go, you know, lay in bed forever. And sooner or later, he'd get motivated, right? And then he'd be walking fast with his cane to show how you know, and you have to remember, he lived with me for 23 years, people. I knew him for 30. Okay, and even before he moved in, I could motivate him to get him up and walk. Because that's what his doctor told him. The best thing that you could do for yourself and your legs is to walk and your back. Right? And if you notice in his videos, that's what he talked about, was walking. Because he knew walking was the best thing for him. Otherwise, he would seize up. Right? Anyway, in the dream, he was walking really fast. He was kind of running, you know, and I'm like trying to catch up to him. He would go here and he would go there. And I'd be like, whoa, John. And he looked a little younger too, right? And then all of a sudden, you know how dreams are, they just switch over, right? Well, then all of a sudden, he's laying on his stomach with this woman that was kind of blondish with a bowl cut hair, like, you know, bowl cut. Bowl, B-O-W-L, right? Like a bowl, like, I don't know how to explain it, right? White women wear their hair like this, right? And she was kind of blondish, right? Well, I guess black women wear their hair like that. Well, any kind of woman, if their hair is straight, because her hair was straight, right? Just kind of like a bowl, right? You know, curled under, you know, just nothing fancy. And she was standing over John, and he was like this, and she was there, and I was here. And he wanted to get up, and I'm telling her, you know, he wants to get up. You gotta let him up. And she was arguing with me. She was telling me that I had no right to say anything, and that he was going to stay basically where he was, and to hell with me. And then, of course, I'd argue back, and that's what woke me up, because I hollered out in my dream, like, how dare you? Like, you know, he wants to get up, right? And you have to remember, prior to this situation, he was running around happy-go-lucky, free man, and I was trying to catch up to him, because that's what happens when he's in a good mood and he wants to, you know, impress people. I can walk, right? I can walk. And he'll walk fast till he can tell you that he can run. Well, he was running and walking and feeling really good, and, you know, and spry and young and youthful, and then the next thing you know it, he's on his belly with this freaking bitch standing over him, arguing with me, saying that he ain't going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. And that I better get used to the idea and just, you know, hit the road, lady, right? You know, telling me to fuck off, right? And I'm hollering back and telling her, like, how dare you? Like, he wants to get up. Let him get up, right? And then, of course, I woke myself up. I told my kids about it, right? But I think that's what happened, people. I think Uncle John died. I think he came by and he said goodbye to me. And he wants me to expose what these people have done to him, because they wouldn't let him leave. Right? We've got that on that video with he's not your grandpa, right? You're not allowed to see him. John, you know you can't see the kids until you're better. Well, he's never going to get better, people. What kind of society do we live in where we tell people that you can't see somebody until you're better, but we don't allow them to get better because we're keeping them locked under key with, you know, doping up their brains? And the other video, that 1 minute phone call I had with him. I'm sick. I've been sick for 3 months. I got hurt. I can't remember. All I know is I've been sick for 3 months. So from the time he left the hospital, within a very short, Victoria General Hospital in British Columbia, fucking Canada, went to his sister's house, and within a month or so, he got injured. Because when the kids went to go see him, he was looking pretty good. And yes, he was taking OxyContin and a calcium pill. Because my kids seen him take 2 pills, not just calcium, like they were leading us to believe. That's why he couldn't get up out of the wheelchair at that freaking temporary care ward. That's why he couldn't get it to the freaking bathroom, because they were doping him up, people. But he was fine at the Victoria General Hospital, British Columbia, Canada, until they sent him fucking to his sister's house. So he was in there in April. The kids seen him April 2nd, May, June, right? So they probably released him in May. He was there for the month of June. So he was there for a month and a half maybe. I call up in July, get lucky, speak to him for 1 fucking minute. The only thing he wants to tell me is that he's been injured. He's been sick for 3 months. So pretty much from the time he got released from the hospital and showed up at his sister's house, something happened. He got hurt. Then he got sick for 3 fucking months. And because he couldn't talk to me, because he knew these people were going to rag on him and remind him that he wasn't allowed to talk to me, he just simply said, I forgot. And then they took the phone away from him. So July, August, September, and then I get that dream in September. Maybe the first week of October, because like I said, I didn't fucking write down the date because I'm so depressed with this shit. And that's probably what it was. He probably came and said goodbye. And he left me with the impression of how he died. With some bitch standing over him saying, you can't get up. You can't talk to the people that you love. You're not going anywhere. Stay on your stomach and get over it. Because we're not letting you get up. And he probably died. That's why he was running around free. Free and young and youthful and happy. Proud. Strong. But in reality, he wasn't free now, was he? And if he's still alive, he's still not free. I don't know why I'm thinking these things. But it's an awfully unusual dream to have. And considering that my other relatives have come to me on their dying day, and then I wake up in the morning and somebody from my family tells me that Grandma died. Well, isn't that interesting? Grandma took me up to heaven last night when I was sleeping. Uncle Harry died. Well, isn't that interesting? He was shaking on me and sitting on me saying, I gotta go. And I'm like, okay, I know you gotta go. You're free, go. The next day I get a phone call, he died. I think Uncle John came and said goodbye to me too. To tell me that he was free, finally, from these people. But he wants the truth to get out. He wants the truth to get out as to what these people have done to him. And what they've done to the kids. Because Uncle John didn't deserve this. And neither did the kids. And that's all I gotta say about this right now.